Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I'm talking about the third episode of the Arceus, the one called a God Special Arc. So, let's get to it. This episode begins where the previous episode ended, with Heatran transforming into a more menacing form. This transformation causes a massive explosion of flames. Ash and friends and Team Galactic watch Heatran's new form in awe. Heatran then smashes the ground, which generates a shockwave that launches a wave of lava at the Lake Guardians, who use Psychic to defend themselves. However, the shockwave also knocks Pikachu and Piplup back, and it surrounds everyone in smoke. The Lake Guardians then approach Heatran and they see what's inside of it with their power. This allows them to see that the flame plate is still intact, and that the real Heatran is trapped inside. Meaning that this giant monster is not the actual Heatran, but rather, it's a shell or a fake body made of energy. The episode then cuts to Cynthia, who is still at the festival. She sees that there is trouble in Mount Coronet and she unties her ponytail, which signifies that she is ready to get serious and that it's time to battle. However, I do hate to see her get rid of such a beautiful hairstyle. It was nice while it lasted. Now, Dawn did contact Cynthia in the last episode, so I am sure that Cynthia knows that there is trouble when she looks at Mount Coronet here. The episode then cuts briefly to the Pokemon Center Ash and friends were in the previous episode. The TVs here display a news report that talks about what's happening in Mount Coronet. The episode then cuts back to Mount Coronet, where Heatran continues advancing. The heat emanating from Heatran is so hot that poor Piplup has a sweat drop fall into one of his eyes. Go wonders what's going on with Heatran and Brock says that he can only assume that a greater force is at work here. Heatran then roars, which causes the space-time gate to re-emerge, this time alongside some lightning. Ash and friends get a closer look at Mount Coronet and they are once again transported alongside their Pokemon to the weird dimension that Arceus and the Lake Guardians used before to communicate. Ash and friends are shown here that the plate and the real Heatran are inside the monster Heatran that is walking around. Ash and Dawn are surprised to learn that the Heatran that is causing so much trouble is not actually the real Heatran. Brock says that this giant Heatran must be some sort of energy clump made of fire. Go mentions that in the vision, Heatran looked unconscious. Dawn wonders if perhaps this means that Heatran lost control of itself, while Ash wonders what the plate they saw in the vision is. Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter then look at the Lake Guardians who are currently pursuing Heatran, and Saturn says that they must shoot down Aself, Mesprit, and Uxie. So Purugly uses Shadow Ball, Skuntank uses Flamethrower, and Toxicroak uses Sludge Bomb. All three attacks head straight towards the Lake Guardians who realize that they are being attacked, and they turn around so that they can counterattack with Psybeam. All the attacks clash, causing a massive explosion. Ash and friends tell Team Galactic to stop attacking the Lake Guardians. Jupiter wonders what Ash and friends gain by interfering with Team Galactic's plan. Ash says that they just want Pokemon to be free, while Dawn says that the Lake Guardians requested their help, so they want to honor said request. I love that Mars says here, look at you, trying to act so cool. Golden demands to know what the plate inside of Heatran is, and if Team Galactic used said plate to make Heatran go crazy. Mars laughs, saying, oh, you don't know what it is, and she reveals that it is the flame plate. Now it's curious that Saturn looks at Mars before she talks, and after Gold demands answers. It's like Saturn knew that Mars would answer the question, so he looks at her like this question is all yours. Go is confused because he does not know what the plates are, so Brock explains that they power up Arceus. Mars then explains that the plate wants to return to the heavens. It wants to return to Arceus, which is why the space-time gate is opening, which is a dream come true for Team Galactic. Now this makes it sound like the plate is the one in control of Heatran, which does make sense. This means that it's not that Heatran lost control, but rather that the plate took control of Heatran. Ash wonders if Team Galactic are trying to summon Dialga and Palkia again since they want to open the space-time gate. But Mars says that all they want is to get Cyrus back. This shocks Brock, and it's curious that Go says, is he the one that disappeared beyond the space-time gate? Go was of course not present when Cyrus disappeared, so I do wonder how he knows this. It's possible that Ash and Dawn told Go the whole story of what happened back then, since they did tell Go about what happened in the Diamond and Pearl series with Dialga and Palkia. Or maybe what happened to Cyrus made the news or something, so perhaps it's common knowledge. Regardless of the reason, what I want to point out here is that it is weird that Go has knowledge of something he did not witness. Something that he was not told about, at least not on screen. And it is odd that he is the one that mentions this when Mars talks about Cyrus. Everyone else here knows what happened to Cyrus, including us, the audience. So having Go remind us and the characters of what happened feels unnecessary, out of place, and out of character. Because again, Go shouldn't know about it. Now I love that Saturn gives Mars a mean side look, and he says that there was no need to tell them all of that. So this shows that earlier, when he looked at Mars before she spilled the beans, Saturn was indeed looking at her because he knew that she would answer the question. But not because he wanted her to answer it. Instead, he was like, don't you dare tell them anything. Which is funny since it shows that Mars is a blabbermouth and Saturn knows it. Jupiter then says that there is no harm in Ash and friends knowing the truth, since they have no place in the new world, so it really does not matter if they know. She goes on to say that they will simply dispose of Ash and friends. Mars and Saturn agree with this and their Pokemon all get ready to battle. Toxicroak especially has a very angry expression. Purugly and Skuntank then use Shadow Ball and Flamethrower respectively in unison, while Pikachu and Piplup use Thunderbolt and Bubble Beam respectively in unison to counter. As usual, the clash of moves causes an explosion. Ash then says that they will save Heatran, and Dawn says that a lot of Pokemon are suffering because of Team Galactic's selfish plan. Go adds that they saw how the forest burned up in an instant, leaving Pokemon without a home. The Team Galactic commanders just stand there in silence while smiling, showing that they feel no remorse. Go then tells Grookey that it's too dangerous for it to be out here due to the heat, so Go withdraws Grookey, which is something that rarely happens. Now I love that Piplup energetically says goodbye to Grookey, who says goodbye in response. Go then sends out Cinderace, who stands alongside Pikachu and Piplup ready to battle. Now Ash says, okay, let's go everyone, and I love that Mars mimics Ash, and then she says, geez, you're going to make me puke. I just love how she always has a dark or awful thing to say in response. Or she always has something sarcastic to say in response, or she mocks the other person in some way. I just love how evil she can be when she talks, especially since Rie Tanaka is the one delivering such evil dialogue in Japanese. I never wondered before who my favorite Team Galactic commander is, but now I know who it is for sure. Jupiter then says that at least the energy that Ash and friends have is charming, even if it won't last long. Mars agrees, saying that nobody gets in the way of their glorious new world and gets away with it. Saturn says that they need to ensure that Heatran can get to the space-time gate without interference, so they need to keep Ash and friends distracted and away from Heatran. Mars says that this goes without saying, and Jupiter commands the Pokemon to attack. Purugly uses Shadow Ball, Skuntank uses Flamethrower, and Toxicroak uses Sludge Bomb. Piplup counters Flamethrower with Bubble Beam, Pikachu counters Shadow Ball with Thunderbolt, and Cinderace counters Sludge Bomb with Pyro Ball. The clash of moves causes, as always, a massive explosion. Brock then tells Ash, Dawn, and Go that they should go help Heatran alongside the Lake Guardians, that he will keep Team Galactic busy. Ash, Dawn, and Go accept, and they leave alongside their Pokemon, but Dawn does tell Brock to be careful. Saturn tells Toxicroak to stop Ash, Dawn, Go, and their Pokemon, but Toxicroak is intercepted and stopped by Krogunk. Purugly and Skuntank tried to stop Ash, Dawn, Go, and their Pokemon as well, but like a total badass, Brock says, you are fighting me, and he sends out Steelix and Blissey. Steelix uses Stone Edge to hit Purugly and Skuntank, though it seems like Purugly got hit the worst here. Blissey then uses Dazzling Gleam to hit Purugly, and Blissey then gets close and it uses Mega Punch on Purugly. Man, poor Purugly is just getting absolutely pummeled here, while Skuntank was hit just once. Also, I love the fact that Brock gets the chance to really shine here by stopping the 3 Team Galactic commanders single-handedly alongside 3 of his Pokemon. So Ash, Dawn, Go and their Pokemon head towards Heatran. Now it's interesting that they slide down a hill on their way to Heatran and Go is the only one that stumbles here. This is a nice detail because Go is less athletic and dexterous than Ash and Dawn. And this stumble shows that this is the case in a subtle way. We are reminded of one of Go's shortcomings without having to be told about it directly. So again, this is a nice detail. Ash, Dawn, Go and their Pokemon soon get close to Heatran, but strong, heated wind currents keep them from getting much closer. I love that Cinderace, who is bigger and a Fire-type Pokemon, shields Pikachu and Piplup, who are smaller and not Fire-type, from the heated wind. Go says that they can't get closer like this, and Dawn says that the heat is too much. So, Ash sends out Dracovish and Go sends out Inteleon. Now I love that Cinderace looks at Inteleon like, hey, good to see you, or it's good that you are here. And Inteleon is like, it's nice to see you too, or it's good to be here. It's fitting that they interact like this considering that they are good friends that have been together for quite a while. But in recent episodes they are not always on screen at the same time like this. Also, I love that Piplup looks at Inteleon with admiration here like, oh wow, so cool. Piplup even poses like Inteleon, which is funny. And I love that Inteleon looks away and is like, please stop. Don't do that. It's too cringy when you do it. Or maybe Inteleon is just embarrassed because it is being admired and imitated like this. Ash then tells the Lake Guardians to help them with Psychic. So Piplup uses Whirlpool, Inteleon uses Snipe Shot, and Dracovish uses Water Gun. I love that Inteleon is pushed back by the recoil of Snipe Shot. It's like Inteleon is firing a magnum. This makes Snipe Shot look like the impactful and powerful move that it is. The Lake Guardians then use Psychic to compress all 3 moves into one giant ball of water, which crashes into Heatran. This causes a massive explosion. An explosion so massive that the Lake Guardians are pushed back. Ash, Dawn, Go and their Pokemon are forced to hunker down to withstand the blast. And Inteleon has to hold Piplup while Cinderace holds Pikachu. Also, Brock and Team Galactic can feel and see the explosion from where they are. Now Saturn says that Ash and friends are fools, and we soon see why he refers to them as such. Heatran is completely unaffected by the attack, and Go realizes that using water against so much heat only makes things worse. Heatran then roars, which causes a surge of heat and energy. The space-time gate then opens up more, and more lightning is also visible. Saturn says that he expected no less from Heatran and he says, now go, open the space-time gate. Meanwhile, Krogunk and Toxicroak engage in an intense close-quarters brawl that ends in a draw. Skuntank then uses Flamethrower to land a super effective hit on Steelix, while Purugly goes for an Iron Tail attack on Blissey. However, Purugly is intercepted by none other than Garchomp. Man, poor Purugly just can't catch a break. It keeps getting absolutely destroyed at every turn, especially when compared to Toxicroak, who just battled its opponent to a draw, and when compared to Skuntank, who just landed a super effective hit on its opponent. So the Team Galactic commanders are in shock, and Saturn is like, it can't be. But yes, it can be. This is indeed Cynthia's Garchomp, and Cynthia soon stands beside Brock, ready to battle, much to the dismay of the Team Galactic commanders, who are now in despair because they have to deal with the champion of Sinnoh as well. A helicopter then appears behind Cynthia and Brock. Cynthia uses a microphone to communicate with Officer Jenny, who is inside said helicopter. She tells Officer Jenny that Team Galactic are indeed to blame for all the trouble, just like they thought. And Officer Jenny says, indeed, this time they won't get away. She then says that the rest of the Sinnoh police will be here soon, and she says that Cynthia should inform them of any developments. Officer Jenny then leaves, which is odd. You would think that the police would be like, alright, we will take care of things from here so that the civilians can get out of harm's way. But I guess that since Officer Jenny said that the rest of Sinnoh is on the way, they don't have the manpower on site to handle the problem. And they probably trust Cynthia, Ash, and friends to save the day like they did in the past. There's also the fact that we are here to see Ash and friends save the day, alongside their Pokemon Cynthia, the Lake Guardians, and Arceus. So having the police interfere would just ruin the episode. So Cynthia tells Brock that she will deal with Team Galactic, that Brock should go help Ash and the others, and that he should take Garchomp along. She mentions that the only way to stop Heatran is to collapse its footing, and that Garchomp can help with this. She then says to Garchomp, "I am counting on you." Brock accepts and he tells Krogunk and Blissey to go with him, but they choose to stay and fight instead. So Brock tells them to help Cynthia in his place. Brock then has Steelix use Dig. Brock and Garchomp then jump into the tunnel created by Steelix. Now at this point, while I was watching the episode, I was like, I wonder what Pokemon Cynthia will use to battle Team Galactic since Garchomp left with Brock. Will it be a Pokemon that she has not used before, which is what happened in episode 89 where she used a Kommo-o? Or will she use said Kommo-o this time as well? Or will she use another one of the Pokemon we know she owns, but that she has not used in a while? I was excited to see what Pokemon she would end up using here, and Cynthia says, "Bloom, Roserade," and she sends out, well, a Roserade, which is a Pokemon she has never used in the anime before. So it is a nice surprise for sure, though Cynthia does use Roserade in the Generation 4 games and the remakes. Slowly but surely we are seeing all the Pokemon that Cynthia has in the anime, which is nice, since we can get an idea of what Ash will likely have to face in the future. The episode then cuts to the other side of the conflict. Heatran continues its advance with the Lake Guardians still in pursuit. Brock, Garchomp, and Steelix soon emerge from the ground near Ash and friends. Brock tells everyone about Cynthia's plan to collapse Heatran's footing, which will allow them to extinguish Heatran. Everyone agrees with this plan, with Ash saying that they should focus their attacks on the ground beneath Heatran. Brock then removes his shirt and jacket like a total badass, while saying exactly, "Now let's do this." I was honestly expecting that he would Mega Evolve Steelix since Brock did remove his shirt and jacket to Mega Evolve Steelix back when he battled Kiawe. But I guess that this action simply means that Brock is ready to get serious, and not that it's time to Mega Evolve his Pokemon. So the Lake Guardians use Psybeam to stop Heatran in its tracks. This also crumbles the ground under Heatran somewhat. Steelix and Garchomp then use Dig to further weaken and destroy the ground that Heatran is standing on. Pikachu then uses Iron Tail to shatter a good portion of ground. Cinderace follows up with Pyro Ball to destroy the ground weakened by Pikachu. Dawn then sends out Mammothswine. It's nice to see her finally use a Pokemon other than Piplup. Mammothswine uses Ancient Power to deal even more damage to the ground near Heatran. This final bit of damage leads to the collapse of the ground beneath Heatran. This traps Heatran in a crater. The Team Galactic commanders get distracted by this, and Cynthia takes this chance to strike. Roserade uses Petal Blizzard to hit Toxicroak, Purugly, and Skuntank, who are knocked back as a result. Lightning then falls from the space-time gate, and it hits Heatran, who powers up because of this. Its energy surges, which causes more ground to crumble. Pikachu and Piplup end up having to avoid falling because of this. Heatran then fires a beam of energy up into the space-time gate, which is finally opened completely as a result. Cynthia is shocked, and she wonders how this happened, while Saturn declares that Team Galactic wins since the space-time gate is open. Heatran then emerges from the crater where it was trapped, and it turns out that it has transformed yet again. It now looks straight up like molten rock, and it is much bigger. Heatran's rise causes more destruction of the terrain around it, and Dawn almost falls into an opening in the ground. But thankfully Ash and Go are able to save her. Ash and friends and their Pokemon all make their way to higher, more stable ground. As they escape, Ash says that Heatran is getting bigger. Dawn says that it is changing its shape as well. Go wonders if it got more energy from the space-time gate, and Brock says that this must be the case, that the extra energy increased the pressure generated by the plate inside of Heatran. Brock goes on to say that if Heatran continues to get energy, then it will likely explode. And this explosion will be so big that it will destroy Heatran, Mount Coronet, all of them, and everyone and everything else in the area. We then do get a close-up of Heatran that shows that it is indeed expanding to the point that it looks like a balloon that has too much air in it and is ready to burst. The episode then cuts to the Team Galactic commanders who get on their helicopter so that they can go to the space-time gate to welcome Cyrus. Rose Raid, Krogunk, and Blissey try to stop them, but Skuntank uses Smokescreen to cover Team Galactic's escape. Ash and friends and their Pokemon soon reach a safe area to stand on, and Heatran soon catches up to them, looking like a twisted, deformed monster. It is twitching, it is spitting out lava, and it is clearly struggling to even move. Ash says that this is not looking good, and Dawn says that Heatran could explode at any moment. Arceus then emerges from the space-time gate, much to everyone's surprise. Now Go is like, is that Arceus? Which is odd, since he saw Arceus in the last episode. Though maybe he is surprised now because he is seeing Arceus in the flesh, and not in a vision. Arceus looks at Heatran intently here, which shows that Arceus realizes that the situation has gotten to the point where it must personally intervene. The Team Galactic commanders are also shocked to see Arceus. Arceus then uses Judgment, and the episode ends here with the Judgment striking the ground around Arceus. So overall, this was an amazing episode, and it was better than the previous two episodes. Though this is to be expected, since this third episode is where things really get serious. It was great to see Brock in action. He got to battle the Team Galactic commanders single-handedly, using Steelix, his main and strongest Pokemon, using Krogunk, one of the most memorable Pokemon from his Sinnoh team, and a fitting choice to battle Team Galactic, considering Krogunk's history with Saturn's Toxicroak, and with Blissey, who is another member of Brock's Sinnoh team, whose evolution into her final form was revealed in this arc, and so this is the first time she gets to battle. Brock's battle with Team Galactic was a very nice sequence, and it's awesome that Cynthia then joined said battle, and she took over for Brock, revealing another one of her Pokemon in the process, which is great. It was also nice to see Ash, Dawn, and Go use their other Pokemon as well. The interactions between them were funny and cool. Also, their attempts to stop Heatran were great, especially since Aself, Mesprit, and Uxie were also helping. And things got even better once Brock, Garchomp, and Steelix joined the battle against Heatran. The Team Galactic commanders also continued to be great villains in this episode, especially Mars. And it was awesome to see Arceus appear in the end, so that it can end this crisis itself with its awesome power worthy of a god. And its judgment was definitely an impressive sight. So yeah, this episode was awesome, and I can't wait to see the epic conclusion to this amazing arc. But that's the video, as always. Leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.